Another recording? Okay, so we're going to talk now about different ways to reduce the amount of time you spend in lines at the airport. So, Susan, did you have specific questions that you wanted?
Well, I was just curious if people were using them. There was Global Entry and what was the other one? And I haven't ever signed up for any of them. Sometimes I've gone to the airport and for some reason they decide that my husband and I are safe, probably because we're old, and then we go in the fast line. But what's the other one called?
Clear.
TSA PreCheck?
Yeah, the PreCheck, right?
Yeah, so I have TSA PreCheck and Global Entry. I believe that Global Entry sort of subsumes
That's what I thought I had heard, yeah.
PreCheck. But I got TSA PreCheck before I had Global Entry. So TSA PreCheck is, I believe, only gets you into a different line when you're in an American airport.
Domestic, yeah.
And it shows up on your boarding pass. So when you book your ticket, you have to enter your TSA PreCheck number. So it has to show up on the boarding pass. And then you go into a different line. And, honestly, sometimes I think that line is not really any shorter.
Because everyone's getting
So many people have
It can be a huge difference sometimes, but I think
sometimes
you
it does.
put your TSA number in your profile. If you have a miles account with JetBlue or wherever else, you can put that in there so that you're not having to remember to do that all the time.
Yes.
And it just comes out on your ticket.
And I believe in TSA PreCheck, you don't have to take your shoes off, or there's something different. And it's relatively easy to get, and it's not very expensive. Now, Global Entry, it has proven for me to be an enormous time saver getting back into the States. Oh my God. And now it's even like digitalized, you just hold up your card and that's it. Or maybe they even have my picture. I don't know. But you go right through, no problem. So for traveling internationally, I love my Global Entry. That is a little more of a process. I don't know if it's the same now because I've had it for quite a few years, but you had to have an interview. You had to have all these papers. They did a background check. I mean, it was quite a process.
Wow.
Cheryl, I was just reading an article about that in the New York Times, and the wait list now to be interviewed is like 8 or 9 months. So
my.
Did figure that.
And it was only in certain places, I think, that you could have the interview. You'd have to go to Logan or you'd have to go.
Yes.
Exactly. Right. But
Yes.
who knew it was popular? The other thing I learned when I was in line recently internationally was if you're over 75, you don't have to take your shoes off. So
I heard that. Oh wow.
Pull that.
But you do have to take your bra off though, Darby.
I don't know. I don't think they'd enjoy that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was funny. It just happened to me recently, the last trip I took, and I don't know how it came about. Maybe the woman in front of me, she said, I'm over 75. And then I said, I'm over 75. She said, no, prove it. And I got my passport. But there you go. So you don't have to take your shoes off anymore, guys. Well, for those of us.
That's great.
It's so inconvenient, really. Because I always wear, really the heaviest shoes I own, like walking shoes or what I put on to go on the plane. So whatever.
I hate when sometimes I'm wearing sandals and I've just taken a shower and my feet are all clean and then I have to walk around the dirty airport floor.
So does one of those TSA or Global Entry expire? I thought I had heard that from somebody.
I have to renew my Global Entry
They
soon.
technically expire. I will share with you, and this is maybe something you want to think about or not think about, but after the Alaska airline thing the other day, my former significant other was a pilot. It's a wise idea when you're traveling to wear shoes that you can run.
Oh,
And if you want to get a little bit more blunt about it, he said it's also a better idea if you wear natural fabrics, because
Oh.
if there is a fire, then natural fabrics will not be flammable, nor will they be as painful if you get burned.
So another tip was wear your shoes at takeoff and landing.
Yeah.
Those are the two highest likely times for there to be trouble. So don't take your shoes off till you're, cruising up there.
I'm on a little campaign right now to have the airline stop serving alcohol in the exit row.
Stop doing what?
To have
wow.
them stop serving alcohol in the exit row.
Mhm.
You can drink wherever you want on the plane. I
Mhm.
do not like it that they are serving alcohol in the exit row, because those people are
Uh-uh.
expected to help out in an emergency. And I wrote an article on medium.com, and it is still getting traction. And that article is 4 years old. And
Hmm.
drink wherever you want. If you're supposed to be helping out the flight attendant, and as I've been flying, I've been asking flight crews, and it's amazing how many have said that the captain will say, I didn't think about it. And the flight attendant said, oh, we think about it because we know this person will not be able to open up the door.
Oh, sure.
That's fascinating.
Wow.
I mean, so you pay for that seat, but I'm like, that doesn't mean you're sober or you know what you're doing. And I would like to get it to the point that I apply to sit in that seat. I have gone through a training. I have gone down that slide. I think that row,
Oh,
if we are basically unpaid crew and we are expected to help out, that should be something that you apply for and that you know what you're doing.
sounds too costly. I don't think they'd ever do it.
Well, they won't, because they make too much money out of selling the seat.
I know I've sat there and I
That's right.
look at that door and I go, I don't even know if I would know how to do that. I would try, but if you've never done it,
Well, the crew have told me what happens is that the crew will usually open it, and then the people in the exit row jump out. They don't realize, no, you're supposed to help. And they
Check
exit
it out
first.
first.
And and then I mean, it's amazing that Japanese plane the other day, that where they exited it in 90 seconds the other day. I mean, that was, and then, and two of the exits, they didn't even let people out because it was too close to the plane to have the fire. That Japanese plane was absolutely a miracle from God that people did not die in that.
So are you saying the people in the exit row are supposed to help other people get out of the plane?
Yes, that's their job.
I've never been in an exit row, so I didn't know that. But how can they help people get out if they're blocking?
They're supposed to help be part of the crew to get
Oh.
people out.
Oh,
They
Lord.
used to,
they don't
they-
say that to you when they ask you about being it. What they say is, you're in the exit aisle. Do you feel comfortable being able to open that door? Well, you say yes because you don't move your seat, but you're like, I don't know. I never tried it before.
Mhm.
There's no sample door to try. So, but they make it sound like your primary responsibility is getting that damn door open and, doing that right away. They don't really say anything about helping other people.
Interesting.
it seems like if if you have the exit row seat, if you're choosing the exit row seat, they already tell you that you can't put your bags under the seat in front if you're in the exit row. Why can't they say, this seat, you're not allowed to have a drink on if you have this seat? I mean, it seems like an easy thing to do.
I'm with you, Jill. I mean, I've been sneaking pictures of people drinking, and one guy had 2 pips, and I got chit-chatting with them, and they had just flown in from, I mean, they were dirt tired. They were 85 years old. This was a bucket list trip to go wherever they were going. And he had a cane. I mean, it just, are
Yeah.
you willing and able to help out in an emergency? Yeah, he's got 2 drinks in him and he needs a cane. I mean,
Yeah.
and I think there just needs to be, I mean, but as I said, they just make too much money from it, so they're not going to give it up.
Well,
Yeah,
they say,
they don't-
limited recline and all of that stuff. It seems like, they can put one more, one more criteria.
And they don't, as you're saying, Diane, they don't make their own judgment about your capability. You could be, you know, you could have some serious issue. All they do is say, are you comfortable doing it? And
Are
they-
you, are you comfortable and able to be helping out in an emergency? I think, and I
Yeah.
mean, one guy, he was so fat, he could barely get in the seat.
I think that's part of the issue with the Japanese plane. They were all small people and they're more regimented society, and they were able to get
Well,
them.
they're compliant. They're
Americans are screwed.
compliant. Yeah, but I will say they drink like there is no tomorrow. They, I mean, if you
That's true.
see some Japanese when they're drinking, I mean, it is unbelievable what
Yeah.
they consume.
So Diane, you should be a stewardess. You go up there and go, you, out of that seat. You're too fat. You.
Yeah.
Stewardess, you're dating yourself.
Flight attendant.
Does
By
it
the
cost
way,
more
I-
to sit in the exit row?
What?
Yes, you pay extra for it.
Do
Mhm.
you really?
Because
I
you have
just-
leg room. You have huge
I've
leg
never
room.
wanted to sit there, so I didn't
I
know
just
this.
booked a flight to DC. I'm going down for the day in a few weeks, and the exit row seat was $54. And I it's a ridiculously cheap flight, so I picked just because I'm going down for the day, I'm not gonna do luggage or, you know, I got the cheapy thing. And then if you do the cheapy, you have to buy your seat or wait until you get the leftover. And I'm like, you know, so it was $12 to get a regular seat. So I'm like, I'll get an aisle for $12. That's okay. But the exit was 54.
Wow.
So on international airlines, this is where they make big bucks. And of course, then there's the free alcohol and the rest of it, and people are tired. And, you know, again, I'll do the training, you know. I happened to be in Detroit, got to the gate early, much surprisingly early for my flight. And there was a kerfluffle, and, you know, and the next thing I know, they were bringing somebody off the plane. And this guy was belligerent. He was just pissed that he was being taken off the plane. And there were 3 or 4 Detroit cops that I think might have been linebackers for the Detroit Lions in a different day.
Can't get any of these.
Huge guy.
I had a cord in the
Susan, we
battery.
can hear you. Susan, we can hear you.
Oh, sorry. I will
And
mute.
thanks. And these guys were so huge, and they were literally in tackle, you know, if they were in strike, that if they really wanted to, they could, you know. And then he was so angry, and this Southwest kid who I know had phenomenal training. He's a kind of a pudgy cruise ship kind of a kid in the khakis and the white button down shirt. And he looks at this man, sir, I have no evidence you know how to behave on a plane today. Guy they just kind of like, you know, and he says, I'll just get another flight. And he said, sir, you're actually on the no fly today list.
Oh,
Oh.
and he was drunk. That was the issue, or just belligerent.
So he was, I don't know if there was alcohol involved, but he was pissed about something with the overhead. And it was interesting to see this whole thing, and then the linebackers kind of, you know, backed off a little bit. But another time I'm flying, and the guy in front of me was clearly drunk. I can't find my, you know, boarding pass, and, you know, I'm gonna have to get it. And so I kind of get a little bit further behind him, and I caught the eye of the person doing the, and I'm like, and he says, you know, and he did a thumbs up, and he said, you know, hang on a second, we're gonna get your boarding pass. You know, there might be a problem. Yeah, there's gonna be a problem if I can't get on the plane. And he says, yeah, there's gonna be a problem because you're not getting on the plane. Because the guy he was drunk getting on the plane. I mean, it just, you know.
So go ahead, Jill.
I just
I'm
want
gonna
to
say goodbye. I'm having problems. So
Oh.
have a good
I-
night.
Bye, Jill.
Bye-bye.
I just wanted to say about the global entry renewal. I just had to get mine renewed last year. And when you go on the website to renew it, it makes you think you're gonna have to have schedule an interview for the renewal.
Uh-huh.
And you look and you can't see any places that have any appointments available and all of that. But I put through the application for renewal, and instead of coming back and saying you have to get a interview, they said you're in, you're all done.
Oh, so just ignore the interview part.
Yeah,
I,
well, if
I
it's a renewal, if it's a renewal,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
I think the reason you have to do it the first time is because they fingerprint you. You have to they get your
Yes.
print. The interview takes 4 minutes. I mean, they basically look at you and make sure you're matching the pictures and everything. They take your handprint and off you go, and then you never have to go back to that part again. You just renew it. So it's because once they get your prints, they don't need you to come in again.
Right, but they don't say that on the website. They make you
Yeah.
think you're gonna have to.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought
but
it was
no.
gonna be much. I just renewed mine also and
Yeah.
thought, oh, not again.
Yeah.
Because not
They
because
give you a
of
notice
again.
that it expired, or you just noticed on your card, or how did you know it expired?
They wouldn't let me in the line. That was a pretty good indication that the
Is there a
card
better way?
I think,
I put a thing in my calendar.
yeah,
based
I did too.
my
I
card.
did too, but I
Wow.
think that they might have sent me a note. I can't remember, but I
I
know.
don't
I haven't
think
gotten anything, and I think it's next month.
Okay.
I
well,
have it
maybe-
in my calendar.
Wow, I have no idea.
Does anybody use Clear?
I found it very cumbersome and I already, I was gonna do a trial of it, but a free trial. But I already had the TSA pre-check, so I didn't think it was any benefit really.
And does anybody know anything about what is mobile passport control?
Is
I
that
never heard of
something to
that.
do with having your picture, you just take
I don't
your
know.
picture when you get in there? I don't know, there's something new at the security the last time I checked in, but I didn't know if that's what it was called.
Linda, are you familiar with that at all?
no, I'm not.
Okay.
It sounds like it might be something mobile, like that you have it on your phone type thing and you don't have to
Yeah.
actually have it, but I don't know.
Okay. All righty then. Here we are, 8:17. Diane, thank you